What is up, my brothers and sisters? Today we are taking a look at the nation, and after this little stream here, we'll be having game number 1 of week 13. It's gonna be this one right here. Number 7, Southern Utah, undefeated on the season, 9-0, traveling to take on the 18th ranked UC Davis Aggies, 9-2 on the season. This is their homecoming game. This should be a really fun Pac-10 matchup, and I can't wait for this game to start. But we're going to go ahead and take a look at the nation first. I'm going to go ahead and share this stream in the Discord real quick, make sure everybody's seeing it, and then we'll get right into it, folks. Just give me one moment here. Alright. As I'll share, let me know if you guys can hear the music alright. Should be able to, hopefully. Alrighty. Yo, what up, Tom? How you doing, buddy? Alright, let's take a look, folks. Sports Illustrated, out of nowhere, the Bulldogs are 9-2 and are playing as well as anybody in the nation. I mean, it's not really out of nowhere if you think about it. Bryant won the national championship last season. They have a pretty solid squad, so I'm not sure about that headline. Here's the bowl rankings, alive and well. Latest bowl rankings have Tigers playing for the title, and that is true freshman halfback Rocky Clearwater on that page right there. Matt Carter in the chat. How you doing, buddy? Let's take a look at those bowl rankings real quick. Dayton, number 1 right now, 10-1. They have 1 game left on the season, and that is going to be versus Ohio. So they're already the Big Ten champs, I believe. We'll get into that here in a moment when we look at the conference standings. But here is Savannah State. Even with 2 losses on the year, they are number 2 in the nation. 7-0 in conference. They just beat up William and Mary. It was a very close game the first half. And the second half, the Tigers were able to pull away and secure that win over the Tribe. Tulane at number 3, VMI at number 4 in the bowl rankings, even though they're 6th nationally. Cheeseburger in the chat, Owen Black, QB1 of the UC Davis Aggies. Head coach Jet Christie out there as well. Marvin Joseph, how you doing? Boise State 5th here, New Mexico State 6th, Bryant, Cal Poly, Southern Utah, even after that win over Cal Poly, is below them on this list. And there's William and Mary, Tennessee State, so plenty of FCS schools here on this bowl ranking list. Jacksonville at 13, Ball State, and then Buffalo to round out the bowl rankings. Let's take a look at the new look top 25. And there's Rocky Clearwater. His play leads Savannah State to a 31-13 win over William and Mary. Man, he did have a phenomenal game. And let's see here. We have 4 of the top 6 schools, 5 of the top 7, and 6 of the top 10 are from our 12 schools. William and Mary drops 8 spots down to 11. Jacksonville moves up 1 after the 84-7 humiliating defeat for the Bulldogs of Alabama A&M. UNLV, UTEP. I think UTEP faces one of our schools at the end of the season. I can't remember who it is. UC Davis moves up a couple spots after putting up 83 points on Northern Arizona. There's New Mexico, FIU, Fresno State, Utah State, Montana back in the rankings, and North Dakota State jumps up to 25th after the 31-8 victory over Tennessee Tech. Their next game is at Nicholls State. That's the final Big 12 game of the season for them. They need to win that, and they need South Dakota State to lose their final conference matchup, and North Dakota State will win the Big 12 North. Only in that scenario, though. That's the top 25. Big Geo in the chat. Colin Northrup, how you all doing? Regear Productions. Appreciate everybody stopping by. Take a look at that Heisman watch, folks. Closer to the Heisman. Massey has been spectacular in 06, hauling in 76 catches for over 1,300 yards and 17 touchdowns. That is just crazy stats for the receiver. But we got a receiver of our own here, Mr. Highlight. 2,255 all-purpose yards, 28 total touchdowns on the season. He had 4 last game against Alabama A&M. And, of course, Brandon Allen still at the top with over 2,500 rushing yards on the season, 273 receiving, 34 total touchdowns. This guy is unstoppable right now. My goodness gracious. MJ Gator Jr. falls down a spot. Overtook by Mr. Highlight. He did get suspended for the first half of their last game, so that really hurt him. And I don't think he has a shot at even coming close to the Heisman this season, but he did win it last year. And there's a look at Kingsley Massey. We already saw him on that front page right there. And his quarterback, Trey McCoy, 40 touchdown passes on the season, 3,438 yards. My goodness. Joshua Williams in the chat. Appreciate you stopping by, buddy. And the award finalists, they have all been narrowed down to 3 players, so let's check it out. For the Maxwell, Brandon Allen, MJ Gator Jr., and Nate Henderson from Colorado State. So 3 sophomores here for the Maxwell. Henderson over 2,000 offensive yards and 27 touchdowns. So he is having a great season, but I'm pretty sure Brandon Allen's going to win that one. And it's not even going to be close. The Bednarik, Cy Summers at the top of that list. 76 tackles, 28 for a loss, 7 sacks, 6 interceptions, 7 forced fumbles, and 2 touchdowns on the season. I believe he has a fumble recovery. No, he doesn't. So those are both pick sixes on the year. And his teammate Joe Owens leads the nation in sacks with 18 and a forced fumble with 27 tackles for a loss. Just an absolute monster at left end. And O.J. Thomas for the Fresno State Bulldogs. He's got 3 sacks, 5 picks, forced fumble, a touchdown, 10 tackles for a loss. He's having a great year as well, but nothing even close to what these guys are doing for the Bryant Bulldogs. The Best Quarterback Award, it was won last season by Lamar Jackson of South Dakota State. It is not going to be won this year by any of our quarterbacks. Trey McCoy, Kyle Parker, and Lance Pearson all going to duke it out for that one. Pearson with 28 total touchdowns on the season and over 2,700 yards total. Kyle Parker has, he's got over 2,900 yards on offense, 33 total touchdowns, but McCoy, 40 touchdown passes, and he's already got 5 more than he did last year. Just 5 picks on the season, and no rushing touchdowns, though. The Doak Walker Award, obviously this is probably going to go to Brandon Allen, as well as the Maxwell. It's literally the same top 3 here for this award as the Maxwell. And I think it's going to be a runaway victory here for Brandon Allen on this one as well. And Best Wide Receiver, the Fred Biletnikoff Award. Mr. Highlight is on top so far. He doesn't have a crazy amount of catches, but he's got over 1,000 yards receiving, 19 touchdowns, and not to mention a kick return for a touchdown on the season and 5 punt returns for scores. He also has 3 rushing touchdowns. So he does it all for the Jacksonville Dolphins. And Kingsley Massey, great season, obviously. And Ty Abdullah, over 100 catches. My goodness. Crazy stats right there. Best tight end is going to come down to Jake Berry from VMI with 11 touchdowns. Clint Ingram from Boise State with 8 touchdowns. And Trent Green for the Dayton Flyers. He's got only 3 touchdowns on the season, but 468 yards. Jay Ballmer just misses out on that top 3, the freshman tight end, number 2 tight end for VMI. So Jake Berry probably going to get that one. Best offensive lineman, we have our entire, this is rocked by 9 of 12 spots for our guys. That's just crazy. And Will Jefferson, most likely going to win that. 110 pancakes, 6 sacks allowed on the season. And his teammate is number 2 with 86 pancakes, 2 sacks allowed. And a non-subscriber offensive lineman is number 3 from Cal Poly. Remington Award, so Northern Colorado most likely is going to end up winning both offensive lineman awards here. Sebastian Hernandez, 47 pancakes on the season, no sacks allowed, still hasn't allowed a sack in his entire career for the Bears. Goodness gracious. Josh Givens for Southern Utah, true freshman, non-subscriber lineman, another non-subscriber lineman here for Dayton. Are pretty close, but I mean, that's definitely going to be won by Hernandez this season. The Lombardi Award. I expect Joe Owens to run away with this one. I mean, Cash Harris is, he's having a great season as well for Dayton. 10 sacks, 6 forced fumbles. And Tank Taylor, of course, 9 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, and I believe 6 fumbles recovered. Yes, he does. But I'm pretty sure Joe Owens is going to get 20 sacks this season, so that's going to be an easy win for him. Best linebacker award, Cy Summers, number 1. O.J. Thomas, number 2 for Fresno State. And Logan Tyler, his first season for the Thunderbirds. He was a JUCO transfer. 81 tackles, 9 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 2 picks, 6 forced fumbles, 2 fumbles recovered, and 4 pass deflections. The guy does it all for that Thunderbirds defense. We're going to be seeing him after this stream right here. We're going to have the number 7 Southern Utah Thunderbirds at number 18 UC Davis Aggies. So stick around after this stream. We'll be starting that one up right after this one. The Jim Thorpe Award, Ralph William, my son, is number 1 right now for Cal Poly. 44 tackles, 2 for loss, 6 interceptions, 6 forced fumbles, and a defensive touchdown, which was a pick 6, and 7 pass deflections. He is having a phenomenal season for the former number 1 Cal Poly Mustangs. Sean Williams, another true freshman here on one of these lists. 46 tackles, 6 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, and a touchdown. He also has a fumble recovery on the year, so he's balling out for Eastern Kentucky. Look at that, 78 overall, true freshman. Really good talent. And Chris Major, number 3, 65 tackles on the season, 13 for a loss, 6 sacks, a pick, 2 forced fumbles. Not nearly as many tackles as he had last year. He was our only subscriber player to go for triple-digit tackles, and I don't think he's going to even come close. They've only got a few games left on the year. He might get close to 90, though. So that is the Jim Thorpe Award. Luke Grozo Award here. Robert Carter for Dayton. He's 14 of 15 on the season and 71 of 71 on extra points. My goodness. Alan Coleman, perfect on the year. 13 of 13, 58 of 58. And Nick Leonard of Tennessee Tech. I believe he won it last season. Let's see. Yes, he did. He was the 05 Grozo winner. And first team All-Big 12, second team All-American. He's only missed 2 field goals in his entire career. The guy is phenomenal. So look for him to be in the EFL next season. Best punter award. They don't show any of the stats, so it doesn't really matter. None of our guys are there. Best returner of the season, Oliver Vincent. Let's take a look here. He's got 6 punt returns for touchdowns this season, over 700 yards, and he's got a kick return for a touchdown. So 7 total returns for touchdowns for Oliver Vincent out of North Dakota State. And Mr. Highlight, of course, he's having a great year. 5 punt returns for scores and a kick return for touchdown as well. And Jamar Hicks is number 3 here for the Jackrabbits of South Dakota State. He's got 3 punt returns for scores and 1 kick return for a touchdown. But it looks like it's going to be a 2-man race here between Oliver Vincent and Mr. Highlight. Best Coach Award. Head coach for Brown is number 1 right now. Again, Southern Utah getting snubbed here. Noah Regier in his first season as the head coach of Southern Utah has completely turned that program around from a 6-7 year to a 9-0 season right now, and possibly having a shot at the national championship game, which would be absolutely incredible for Southern Utah to do. And John Gruden, number 5, just missed it. There's Jet Christie. He was number 7. And Rondé Barber is at number 10. And that is it for the awards, folks. Let's go ahead and check out some bowl projections. Let's do it. Bolorama. Check out our bowl projections for 2006. And I don't really care about any of these. I just want to see where they have our teams projected. Northern Colorado in the Insight Bowl. I don't know about that. I think that would be a pretty good matchup for the Bears to take on Princeton in that game. I think Northern Colorado would just run all over the Tigers. UC Davis at North Dakota State in the Holiday Bowl. That would be an interesting matchup as well. I'd like to see if the Bison were able to get their ground game working against the top 5 defense in the country and see if Kelvin Jasper Jr. would actually be able to hold on to the football in that game. Confirmed long snapper is not appreciated. Listen, man, if we go back to doing my created awards for our players, which we might do in the future, you will be up for the Special Teams Award, so that'll be cool. Cal Poly at Indiana State. That would be such an easy victory for the Mustangs. Oh my goodness. 106th defense in the country for the Sycamores. Yeah, that would not be a good matchup at all. That'd be an easy dub for Cal Poly. Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl projection. Prairie View A&M versus Bryant. And I think Bryant would have a pretty decent game against them as well. Of course, the Bulldogs don't have a good pass offense, but that ground attack with Brandon Allen, I think they would just run all over the Panthers. Let's see here. The Cotton Bowl. Elkhorn State at South Dakota State. Oh my goodness. I think Elkhorn State would actually win that game. Look at the defensive rankings here for both squads. 116th for Elkhorn State, 115th for South Dakota State. And I just think those speedy receivers of the Braves would be too much for the Jackrabbits to handle. And I think they would come out of there with a dub. Now let's see. Southern Utah at Tulane for the Rose Bowl. That would be a really good matchup as well. Of course, Tulane in the top 35 in every statistical category here. My goodness. And Southern Utah top 35 for everything except for pass offense, but they don't really need that. Their ground attack has been vicious this season. The Sugar Bowl projection, VMI versus Jacksonville. I think that'd be a fun matchup to see. Definitely a fun matchup. My goodness. Look at those defenses. B-. Those are pretty good. Jacksonville does have a leg up on them in the offensive category. But I think Jacksonville would win that one. It would be a really close matchup. But it'd be a really fun game. And the national title game is the Fiesta Bowl this season, and it's got Savannah State versus Dayton. So that, I would really be interested in seeing that one. Chaos Driven in the chat. How you doing? Players of the week. Brandon Allen, 305 yards on the ground, 6 touchdowns. Bully Cooper, 13 tackles, 3 for a loss, 2 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, fumble recovery, and a touchdown in that win over Portland State. Cy Summers on defense for the ACC, 8 tackles, 4 for a loss, 2 sacks, 2 picks, 2 forced fumbles. The guy is a stud. What else can you say about him, man? The Big Ten. E.J. Wilson for Youngstown State, 15 catches, 229 yards, 3 scores. My goodness. And Curtis Graham for Indiana State Sycamores, 9 tackles, 2 for loss, a sack, and a pick. Justin Hobbs, 208 total yards of offense, 3 touchdowns, and the win over South Dakota State. Jonathan McClellan, 13 tackles, 6 for loss, 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles in the loss to North Dakota State. The Ivy League, also known as the Big East here, 406 yards from Matt Rogers, 2 touchdowns in the win over Brown, who has the Head Coach of the Year award candidate. It's just blowing my mind right now. Landon Cunningham for the Dartmouth. Let's see, they're 1-9 on the season. Oh my goodness. He had 12 tackles, 3 for a loss, a sack, and 2 forced fumbles though, and a loss to Navy. Kevin Brown for Tulane, 288 yards passing, 39 yards rushing, 5 total touchdowns for him. Oh boy. Deshaun Burke, freshman defensive tackle for Rice, had 2 tackles and a touchdown. I would love to see what the touchdown actually was. I'm assuming it's probably a fumble recovery for a score. Dominic Bennett for Army had 151 passing yards, 4 scores. Kyle Scott for Navy, 8 tackles, 2 forced fumbles, and a fumble recovery. Maurice Phillips for the Buffalo Bulls, 122 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns, and a touchdown catch in a win over Maine. And Jason Keys for Ball State had 9 tackles, 6 for loss, 3 sacks, and a forced fumble in a 26-25 win over Eastern Michigan. So he played a key part in that win. My goodness. Will I play the Natty if it's both of our teams? Absolutely not. It's got to be CPU versus CPU, man. It's the only way to make it fair. I don't want anybody to think that I'm, playing favoritism for any of the schools. Dustin Brown for the San Diego State Aztecs, almost 500 yards passing and 5 scores. And a 39-38 win over Wyoming. That must have been one heck of a game. Jeff Roberson for UNLV, 9 tackles, 5 for loss, 2 sacks, and a forced fumble. Owen Black, Pac-10 Offensive Player of the Week, 10 carries, 208 yards, 6 total touchdowns in that win over Northern Arizona where they put up 83 points. The SEC, Mr. Highlight, 281 all-purpose yards, 4 touchdowns. Zane Williams, 7 tackles, 5 tackles for a loss, 3 sacks, a pick, a forced fumble, a touchdown. And, he saved a baby from a burning building. I don't know. The Sun Belt, Glenn Cummings, 375 yards passing, 5 touchdowns. He also ran for 105 yards in a win over Georgia Southern. My goodness, these stats are crazy. Mike Cooley for the Sanford Bulldogs, freshman middle linebacker, 14 tackles, 5 for loss, 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and a fumble recovery. And for the WAC, Trey McCoy, 6 touchdown passes, almost 350 yards. And Ben Brown, junior outside linebacker for New Mexico State, 8 tackles, 2 for loss, a sack, and a forced fumble. That is the end of the players of the week. Let's take a look at the conference standings. Jacksonville explodes for 84 points against SEC rival Alabama A&M. Over before it started. Absolutely. All right, here is the ACC. Bryant, no shot at the title game. So William & Mary is going to have a rematch against Savannah State for the ACC championship. And I'm looking forward to that one. I'm pretty sure the Tribe are going to bring everything they got, just like they did in the last matchup. But Savannah State's defense really held their own, and that was the big difference in that game. Big Ten. Dayton, they are done with conference play. Youngstown State, they have one more conference game, and that is versus Montana State, who is having a rough year. 4-6. They can still get to a bowl game, though. So there's still hope for them. But I believe Dayton has it in the bag. As if I'm not mistaken, they beat Youngstown State. I could be wrong. The season's been so long. I've recorded how many games? Where's my schedule here? 129 games? Yeah, it's been a while. All right, the Big 12. Like I said before at the beginning of the video, North Dakota State can win this division. All they have to do is beat Nicholls State in their next game, and South Dakota State has to lose their next game against Furman. So if both of those things happen, North Dakota State will be our Big 12 North champions, and they will take on the VMI Keydets in the Big 12 title game. That'll be interesting to see as well. And let's see, the Big East, Penn, 6-0 in conference. Princeton's pretty good. Brown, they're fourth in their conference, and their head coach is #1 in the coach voting. That just blows my mind. Conference USA, there's UTEP, and they will probably be taking on James Madison if the Dukes can get a win against Jacksonville State. Or it might be Tulane, who knows? But they have a game against Richmond, which is also a Conference USA squad who is 3-6 on the year. They're struggling. The Independents, Northeastern, I think they only had 1 or 2 wins last season. They have turned that around very quickly. And they just beat Norfolk State as well. Harvey, 21 touchdowns, 4 picks on the season. And they have a 1,000-yard receiver as well. So shout out to the Huskies, turning their program around in one season. The MAC, probably the strongest conference in this dynasty right now. Akron, Buffalo, Ball State, Eastern Michigan, Central Michigan, all with winning records. Ohio has a winning record. I mean, the bottom of it, these are all our FCS schools, all 5 of them in the MAC. So they're all struggling a little bit. But maybe another year or 2 of good recruiting for them, and they'll be able to compete for the MAC title. But it looks like Akron, they have 2 more conference games. Their next one is at Ohio. And Ball State, they have the West secured, so they'll be in the title game. Owen Black calling out the Thunderbirds, saying they're about to lose this next game. Okay. Mountain West, UNLV, looks like they're going to win that one, if they can win against New Mexico, who's #3 in the conference right now. The Pac-10, this is the craziest conference in all of college football. Southern Utah, let's see, this is their final conference game. And it's also the final conference game and regular season game for the UC Davis Aggies, too. So, I honestly don't know who would win the conference if the Aggies pulled this upset off tonight against Southern Utah. Because they both end up 7-1. And Cal Poly, they have one more conference game as well against Eastern Washington. I have a feeling they're going to win that one pretty handily. And, I mean, that would be a 3-way tie for the Pac-10 title. I don't know who would win that. That'd be so hard to even think about. Well, here's San Diego, #8 in the conference, having a rough year, but trying to finish strong here in the last few games. Whoops, the SEC, Jacksonville is at the top. Of course, they blew out Tennessee State, and we're looking like we're gonna have a rematch here in the title game if Jacksonville can win the rest of their conference matchups. They take on the Prairie View A&M Panthers soon. Sun Belt, FIU at the top, Georgia Southern and Florida Atlantic tied for number 2. And the WAC is led by Boise State. And I have a feeling they are going to win that next game, which is against the Bears. I don't think they have a shot at all for that one. Let's see. What else, folks? What else? Have I showed you guys the recruiting? Let's take a look at the recruiting. All right, Bryant, right now, they have a 4-star wide receiver commit and a 4-star cornerback commit. So if you guys want a player in this dynasty and you don't have one already, join our Discord community today. You guys can have one of these players to edit, customize, everything except for their ratings and their hometown, I believe, which is bizarre, but whatever. But I'm also trying to get Bryant a free safety, a tight end, and a left end because Joe Owens is a junior. He might go to the EFL. So we got to get somebody to replace him. Cal Poly has a 4-star outside linebacker and a 3-star wide receiver so far in season recruiting. We're trying to get a halfback, middle linebacker, and a fullback for this squad. Dayton Flyers, they have a couple commitments here. Joey Hicks, 4-star wide receiver. They got a 3-star wide receiver and a 3-star middle linebacker to back up Rob Orlandi. Also trying to get some more defense here and a center. Jacksonville, I finally got some commitments for them. It was such a struggle, and we didn't get until week 12 wrapped up, but we got them a 5-star halfback to really help out the offense because Jukes McGee, he can't be the only halfback on the roster, but this is going to be a really good halfback here. 4.39 40, field awareness of B, hands A-, so he can catch. His potential's poor, but who cares? His discipline's good. And a 4-star middle linebacker as well for Jacksonville. And we're all actually number 1 for this 5-star halfback as well, excuse me. And this 4-star defensive tackle, we did go down a position, but I didn't have any points into him at all until we got those commitments from the halfback and the middle linebacker. So I'm hoping by putting those 40 points in, we can jump back up and try to snag him late in the in-season recruiting. North Dakota State, I got him a 3-star quarterback. He'll be the future of the program, possibly. 4.6 40. And throwing stuff, really not that great. Potential poor, discipline poor, but, whatever. They need a backup quarterback for Kelvin Jasper Jr. Tap out master in the chat. Rocky Clearwater, how you doing? Let's see, Northern Colorado. I'm trying so hard to get them some defense. They desperately need it. I was able to get them a 3-star wide receiver, though, and he's pretty quick, 4.3 40, and B hands, and almost a 40-inch vertical, so very athletic player. South Dakota State got them a 4-star corner, and a 4-star wide receiver, and a 4-star middle linebacker. So we got the Jackrabbits some help on defense, and I'm trying to secure them some more help here, and we're number 1 on the remaining 3 players. So that would be huge if I was able to secure all 3 of those remaining players for the Jackrabbits. San Diego, with their win last week, I was able to get this tight end to join. And he's got pretty good hands, good squat, good bench press, pretty decent vertical for a tight end. And not the fastest guy in the world, but his awareness is an A, so I'll take that. And we're trying to get some more help here. They need some more speed at receiver. And this guy is a 4.2 40 kind of guy with A- hands. So that could be huge for the Toreros. And just chuck it up deep out of that option attack offense. Savannah State Tigers, 4-star corner and a 4-star quarterback. So we have the heir apparent to Jeremy Carroll here for the Tigers. See if he can pick up where he left off. Of course, Carroll has 1 more year of eligibility at least. He'll be a junior next season, but I'm trying to get some linebackers here for the Tigers as well and a defensive end. And Southern Utah, I got them a 5-star halfback to compete with Cameron Matthews and a 4-star defensive end. So that'll be great. He'll go on the opposite side of Jericho Stevens here for the Thunderbirds. And I'm trying to get them this outside linebacker who's a 4-star and a 4-star tackle. And we're number 1 on both of their lists as well. UC Davis, got him a 4-star receiver out of Hawaii, and a 4-star guard to help out the running game. But they desperately needed a receiver. This guy has 4.4 speed, A+ hands, A+ awareness, and 445 squat for a wide receiver. That's pretty good. And for VMI, look at all these recruits I got him. I got 4 commitments here. A left guard, a 5-star guard, a 4-star receiver, 3-star guard, and a 3-star strong safety. And I'm trying to get them this 4-star halfback to go along with, you know, Cam Sanders and Ladarius Johnson. But that is it for recruiting, guys. I am going to go ahead and end this stream, but stick around because directly after this stream, we're going to be having number 7 Utah at number 18 UC Davis Aggies. Pretty much, you know, could be for the Pac-10 title here, and it's the homecoming for the Aggies. So stick around. That stream is going to be starting in about 5 minutes. It's computer versus computer. Thunderbirds are 4-3 all-time in such games, and the UC Davis Aggies are 2-3 all-time in such games. But like I said, smash the like button on this one, folks, and get ready for the game of the week. A couple top 25 Pac-10 teams facing off. I'll see you guys in 5 minutes.